This episode of Invigorate Your Business with George Stroumboulis comes from Toronto, Canada. I get to sit down with Peter Triantos. He has become a cultural icon in Canada for his contemporary artwork. It's featured all around the city, all around the country, high-end homes, residential buildings, corporate settings. He has a unique style. He has this intense passion and energy, and we're gonna get to dive in today and just learn about everything related to art, artwork, what it means to have a gallery, how that whole side of the business works. Very fortunate to be sitting down with them. So enjoy this episode starting now. My name is George Stroumboulis, and I'm extremely passionate about traveling the world, meeting new people, and learning about new businesses. Join me as I sit down with other entrepreneurs to learn about their journeys. This episode of Invigorate Your Business starts now. So we're going to jump into this. We are in Peter's Toronto, Canada, right?
Well, it's everybody's, but
it's everybody's. But I'm very happy and lucky to be sitting with you. You are a cultural icon in the area. Your name has become synonymous with just art, the culture, what you're able to do.
This guy's putting me on the spot right now, George. I'm just the average guy. Look, I'm honored, but just an everyday Joe, really, Peter, really.
Everyday Peter who has his artwork just everywhere, right?
Well, the art has been such a, going back to, I'm going to probably talk a lot. Let me just say this, man. I can talk enough, so I'm going to talk and tell you, like, from a young kid, probably grade 7, I realized that I was very good at art. Actually, it started in grade 3. I was influenced by a couple of friends. I remember their names. This guy, Giovanni and Zoran, they were drawing next to me. I had no idea about art. They gave us this huge, piece of paper, and I was like, ugh. And these guys really opened up my eyes. One guy was drawing a Chicago Blackhawks goalie, Tony Esposito. Another guy was drawing a landscape, and I was just like, man, I had found my calling right there. And the next couple of weeks, it was just like drawing on my pans, teachers grabbing me and trying to get me away just nonstop. Before you know it, by maybe the next month, I was just, when you love something, you start to excel at it, because it's like, if I don't really like something and you can teach me 100 times, it just goes in and out, like they say. In Greek, I don't want to say that, but Nikes give you Nikes, meaning in and out. But so I was, loving the art so much. Even when collecting art, I retain everything because I love it, right?
Sure.
So the art, I can't say enough of what it's done for me. I've met prime ministers, people like yourself, great people, great clients, Mike Tyson, Nicole Scherzinger. I did a show with Drake. I was lucky, Tate McRae filmed in my studio her album. Oh, like so many people that I couldn't believe. Roy Woods, because of the art, it gave me a voice. That's all. And so I'm talking right now. It gave me a voice.
Absolutely.
Right, George? So,
but your journey is incredible, right? So your artwork, if people don't know, they're going to be Googling, they're going to see, right? And you're going to see that. Your artwork is incredible. I'm going to visit the gallery tomorrow as well.
The studio, sure.
But you know what? The one thing you do amazing is, aside from the artwork, is the social connection. So without even knowing you feel like you know Peter, you see it. You go to the job sites and you're actually sitting there and installing it on the walls and taking people on that journey. I feel like I'm there through the screen, right? Wow. You do an incredible job like that.
Thank you.
But let me ask you, so when you were a kid and you started doodling in the 3rd grade, there was a gap of 40 plus years until you took this professionally.
Yeah,
right?
Yes. So a couple of gaps, 3 or 4 gaps. I went to art school in grade 9. I had to leave because of financial reasons. I was an immigrant. The cost of the equipment, it just wasn't feasible. So I left. Then I opened a gallery when I was 30 years old. And then I went back to construction. And then at 47, I think I opened 1, 2, 3, 4 galleries in about a year or something with my wife. So I took the scenic route, and I was very happy to take the scenic route. I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't think I was mature enough to have done this in my 20s. I think it takes time to become a better person, a person who understands more. Not that I wasn't a good person as a young kid, but I was a little bit wild and, untamed. And I think age tames you a bit. And the art is just a way of me saying, hi, I'm Peter Triantos. I want you to enjoy what kind of colors or what imaginary landscape that I'm portraying for you. I'm just trying to make you happy. That's the truth. I'm not, really trying to make a political statement, although it does sometimes sneak in there.
Sure.
Or a statement somehow subconsciously.
You're not phony, and you don't portray that. Like, this is you. The artwork comes across. The various jobs getting there. So
I'm
like
not smart enough to be phony.
You're not smart enough to be phony. Talk to me about just the various jobs too. Like, we all have passions, right? When I was a kid, I wanted to be a professional soccer player and this and that. And you were drawing, and then you realize at a certain point, like, I'm not going to be this or that. You never stopped realizing that, right? But you started doing other jobs to pay the bills.
Oh, I knew.
You knew you would be.
I knew I knew like 1,000,000%. Well, I'm not a famous artist, but I always knew that I was going to be a big art. Like, I just knew that I had this trump card in my trump card.
Now you're getting political, man.
In my back pocket. And I knew that I would one day just say, I would take it out. And so I always felt confident in any job that I had. I would walk out instantly within a second. I never felt I had to, play by anybody's rules if I didn't like it. I just said, this is who I am. I have, people knew me as, oh, Peter, he's a great artist. Peter's a comedian. Peter's a joker. He's crazy. Peter's crazy. But it was always Peter and art. But I forgot about that for a long time. And, I was a carpenter for many years, building homes. But I was drawing on sheets of plywood, man. It brings back memories, up on the roof, guys down on the bottom looking at me drawing a naked woman on the roof, plywood, and crazy cartoons and stuff. So, and I looked at carpentry as a beautiful form of art, building cupolas, hand-cut roofs. And art is everywhere. Art is in, the art of even becoming a good person. There's the, music. The arts are the highest on the pyramid, George. And that's why kids are drawn to it. I think it's the highest form of intellect because, and that's a great thing about art collectors. Yeah. We're very lucky to know them, and we've met many great people. But anybody could turn around and say, look, I can do that and get nothing from it. But an art collector is somebody that gives something a chance, and then they look at it and they're kind of non-rigid. Mm-hmm. And that's why you see a lot of successful people, older people, all kinds of people that collect art that are usually, they have money, and maybe there's a reason for it because they're non-rigid. I don't think most of the people that we meet are hardworking people, intelligent people, good family people, very good people. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm going to say. So I see from my collectors, it's not just, somebody has money. They're usually people that aren't rigid and see something. Maybe they know more about art than, early on. I would sell my art and I thought I was taking advantage of people.
Your art, so when you were an art collector, you were selling other people's art. Like when you opened up your first gallery?
Yeah, I was selling old masters, and then I would sneak my art in there. And people started buying my art more and more. And I always felt like I was taking advantage of them. And, I remember in my 30s, I painted this abstract painting. Some guy came in, he said, "How much is that?" And I said, as a joke, $7,000. It's a little bit of a long story I don't want to get into. But he ended up buying it on the spot. And I never realized, I thought I took advantage of him. And it took me 25 years to buy it back. I bought it back after years later for like $30,000. So
why did you buy that back? Just because?
Because it was one of my first large abstract paintings, and I think the client knew more about the painting than I did, to be honest with you. So, and I'm not kidding about that, because I thought I was ripping him off, kind of. I didn't understand the painting. I had brought my family in the night before to see it, my brother, my nieces, and I asked them, "What do you think?" And they said, "Well, it's you." And I said, what the hell does that even mean? So I was discouraged, and that same evening, I think it was, not even the night before, the same evening, the gentleman had come in, and so when he asked about the painting, I kind of put the high price, just kind of like, I thought he was going to kind of make fun of it or whatever. Because I can't paint realism like nobody's, I have a good hand to eye, very good. And if you'll see my early works, but I didn't want to paint like a fan blowing another fan. I see an apple and I paint the apple. It's just a copy. I wanted to get into abstraction and an imaginary world, take from nature, but make an imaginary landscape or an abstract, it's fun. Art is a lot of fun. And to be honest with you, I wish I can be painting more, but the business of art, there's many things to do, and I can go on forever.
Well, I just did the math right now. You even spending time with me today, you're probably losing tens of thousands of dollars not painting out there, right? Like let's be honest. Like we're gonna get into the commissioning side, but go back to that painting. Like was it
50 commissions behind it? But people kind of start to hate me after a while.
But do you lose, because you're an artist, you're creative, but do you lose when the business side is overwhelming? 4 galleries, like that's not Mickey Mouse. You're running an operation.
Now we have three galleries, four with Giria, but 2 of those are studios and some other you want to keep it lean, and it's a fine line, but you also got to get out there. So I had no idea about PR. I knew that by some weird way that if I put one on Bathurst, I put one on Avenue Road, and I put one on, Davenport, and I started one on Yorkdale. I kind of was like in everybody's face, and everybody was saying, "Why do you need so many galleries?" But it was working, and I think it brought my name up very quickly. Would I recommend it to somebody young? No, I think if you're not, I think it can hurt you, right? But that's the way I did it. Maybe I didn't know any other way, right? But I think, social media, me growing up, I remember walking into a gallery, trying to talk to a dealer. It was almost impossible. I had one dealer actually tell me, "How did you get in here?" And I kind of said to myself, never want to go through this again. So years later, I opened my own gallery.
Did that fuel you? That
fueled me. That put the spark in.
Yeah.
Kind of lit the spark. And I ended up having gallery close next door. So yeah, you need that spark. You need that kick in the behind. It was shocking to me, but today you don't need a dealer. There's Instagram, there's social media where an artist can explode overnight. People will like your work. So I like that. I think people are afraid of social media. Look, it has its bad things too, kind of controlled, but I think it's given a lot of freedom, and it's given people like me a type of constant, so many great things to look at. I mean, has it sparked my creativity? For sure. Early Instagram and that, me growing up as a kid, my friends, if I, what was I going to do? Talk about art? It was it was a little bit weird back then. You're an artist. It wasn't something that, let's go to the museum. I don't know. How am I going to say, right?
They're probably going to want to fight you if they're talking about that.
So kind of weird to say. Times have changed, right? But they I was painting Conan the Barbarian and, crazy scenes and stuff like that, right? What I'm painting today is different. And hopefully what I'm painting in the next 5 years or 3 years or 10 years is going to be even more different. I don't want to be doing the same thing over and over, right? You don't eat the same thing every day. So I paint different series, so many different series.
What's the fine line on that? So like you're painting right now, you're known for the Jelly Bean series, right? Which is just fresh, it pops, it's known around the city. You do other amazing abstract stuff. Like I've always wondered, all you need is a canvas, paint, and you can earn money. Like I'm not trying to simple it, but like literally it's up to you on like how many hours in the day you can do that. Not everyone can do that. Like if I want to...
Well, everybody could do it because...
But sorry, not everyone. Like for me, if I want to sell more lighting, I can't just lock myself in a room. Like I need to find a market. Like you've created such a brand for yourself where it's like how many commissionings you have behind you. It's up to you. But at what point, like, do you keep fueling your fire? You know what I mean? Like if you're just doing the same thing.
Yeah, beautiful question. Like, I mean, that's a very good question. I mean, I'm producing currency, but, being truthful, like, there's times where I stopped the series. Like I would do black and white paintings, they would sell out. So I kind of would get away from them. I stopped the Jelly Bean series for a while. I stopped the Napa Valley series for a while and then go back to it. I mean, money is important, but you have to keep the passion alive and you have to kind of enjoy your own art. Like I said before to some of my clients that I wouldn't hang every painting I made in my home, and they take that in a weird way. But that's the truth. Like every painting is not a masterpiece. And if you're looking to make a masterpiece, you'll never make one. The thing is to constantly work and perfect your craft. It's like making a meal or working on proper lighting. You always learn. You're learning every day, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So, one good thing about art, you can do it until your late years. And that's one thing I kind of loved about art is that as a kid that I would see artists in their later years and they're still creating. And Picasso in the 60s, his work, if you look at it, it's sensational. Here he is in the 60s and the vibrance and the passion, the colors. 60s works are very, very unique, beautiful works. And here's a guy, he's in the 70s, I think, in the 60s, right? So it gives you, hope. Like, you're a hockey player, soccer player. You mentioned soccer. We had some soccer player come, Greek soccer player, Euro Cup, Karagounis. And he was at my studio. That was like
legend, dude.
Like, here's a guy I idolized, Euro Cup, and because of art.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're a soccer player. You're retired at 34 or 35. Hockey players, 40 years old, whatever, right?
Yep.
And with the art, it's like you can go on until the later years of your life. And I love that.
Yes.
Because it's a throwaway world, People have that generation gap. I'm 20 years old, you're 30, you're old. I'm 20, you're 40, you're finished. So, but the art is relative to these kids. And I love helping. Like I was in Korea, somebody said to me, what are you going to do in Korea? I said, well, if I could change a kid's mind to doing something that he loves, I'd be happy. And he said, well, you're arrogant. I said, what do you mean? He said, you're arrogant. Who are you going to change people's lives? I didn't realize what he meant by that. I was kind of offended. I wasn't arrogant, but we went to Korea and we changed many kids' lives. We got letters and kids that saw me paint live and, with no blueprint, doing some lunatic work, and they came alive. So that's what I want to do.
Right.
I want to be an artist like him. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a dentist. I'm not cutting down a doctor. By the way, I need a dentist. I broke my tooth yesterday.
Is there a good story behind that or no?
Well, not really.
Not really. Okay.
No, just broke. So, art is a magical. It's the most humane. You can go back to the days where, people were blowing pigment through their fingers onto a cave wall saying, I was here. So,
right.
That's the same thing today with the graffiti guy. I was here. It's the same thing what I'm doing. I'm here. So I'm going to try to, show you. I think artists just really want, they want recognition. Everybody does.
Everyone does.
Every person does, whether it's an actor. Nobody wants to say, you were really bad in that film. Well, I don't really care. Deep down, you're going to care. You're going to try to, what did I do wrong? Like, sure, you're going to be yourself, but deep down, you want accolades for your work. You want somebody to say, wow, I really like that work. Like, I walked into restaurants, like I meet a lot of people that recognize me, but I was in Yorkville one time and this young kid came up to me, 10 years old.
And he recognized.
With his mother, are you Peter Triantos? And I'm like, that for me right there, you can't get a better feeling in your life.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because I'm touching somebody's life and maybe I have to watch what I do. And that's why I say age is a good thing. Maybe as a young guy in my 20s, I don't think maybe if I was, maybe I would have been the best role model, right? Who knows? I was a little bit wild and crazy. And now I'm a little bit more tame, I think, trying to be tame. And I want to make sure that if I can give somebody a leap where they don't have to go through so many turbulent times and struggles, you know what I mean? Like you're working 7 days a week. I'm still working 7 days a week. George, there has to be somebody that says, hey, wait a second now. Take responsibility for your actions. Give you simple words. A word like that. Somebody told me one time, I was 40-something years old when the guy said, take responsibility for your actions. Well, I didn't nobody tell me that before. I was always blaming this guy. But I'm just saying little things that can, help out and make life a bit easier. We're teachers. We have a responsibility. For sure, I'm going to make sure that I am helping wherever I can.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you're doing that. I got to ask you, like you say 7 days a week, like what's a typical week look like for you? Because you have commissioning, you have your gallery, you have the business side of it, you're married.
Yeah.
Like what does a typical week look like? Do you dedicate, hey, Mondays are the days that I'm just going to paint and be creative. Tuesdays I'm doing the office. Or do you just wake up and see where it goes? Like
crazy. Well, the marriage part is the easiest because I'm married to the most beautiful woman. She's too good for me. She's very good to me. So I'm lucky there. Seraphina, Kim, my wife, is amazing. As for planning, I walk into life as the stubborn mule that I am in many ways, where I don't plan. It's just like when I walk into a painting, I look at that empty canvas and, I want to do this, I want to do that, but also the canvas has a say in it. Is it rigid? Is it a panel? Wherever. I think that the paint might have something to do. The weather might have something to do with it. The humidity. So I think everything together, the liquidity of the paint, the opaqueness of the paint, the transparency of the paint. So I think everything attributes to that meal or whatever. Maybe it's sounding a little bit foolish here by saying that, but I don't think the artist is in full control. I think, so why do I plan my week? Not really. I just go through what I got to do, and maybe I should write down more things. But
like, how does a list, like, if you have a list of commissions that, like, just explain that side of the business.
Photographic memory, and it's getting worse and worse. But it used to work in the past.
But does that stress you out though? Like when I'm like, oh my God, I have this list, and every day there's more people, and I, like, does it get overwhelming?
Sure it does. But you know what? Even sitting at home, watching a raindrop from an eavesdrop dripping on your head can be overwhelming and give you anxiety. So. You know what I mean? Like keeping busy, like that Beatles song, I'm fixing a hole when the rain gets in to stop my mind from wandering. You know what I mean? I try to stay busy so I don't, I think there's a saying like that where, you know, it eludes me right now, but I think staying busy is the right thing.
Yeah.
Too busy, there has to be balance. But unfortunately, in the world today, we're taught to kind of push to keep up. Look, you know, humans are a very proud race of proud people, and they will work themselves to the bone. And unfortunately, maybe some big corporations or governments take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. I think that there should be family time. I think, you know, let's be honest, they're cutting work weeks to 4-day work. It's about time. You know, people's families should be 2-3 days a week of work, 3-4 days of play. Simple as that. You know what I mean? You know, I was once telling this older lady in my car, I was driving her home from church a long time ago, and I told her, you know, in today's world, life is very short. We need 500 years, 100 years to party, 100 years to sleep. I was telling her something stupid like that. And she turned to me and said, oh, no. That's way too long. And I was like shocked at the fact that she had had enough, right? You know, I couldn't believe it.
It's sad, man. Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't believe it. Like, who doesn't want to live 1,000 years? Right?
If you're having a good life, right? It's all perspective as
well.
well.
You make it, right?
Yeah. Let me ask you, you mentioned your wife, got to meet her as well.
Yeah.
Great person, right? Great soul. The dynamic between both of you, it's like totally supportive. You're talking about the artistry side.
She's supportive. I'm just, you know, I'm like, she's supportive. Sometimes I don't know, I have like, you know, I don't like, I could be a better person to her, of course. You know, she's my wife, but you know, it's Peter Trianto's show. Like, I hate to tell you, it's always about me. You guys, she's a very strong person. Who could deal with that? You know, I don't know if I could deal with it in reverse. So she's super strong to be able to deal with that. And has she made my career? Yes, in many ways. If it wasn't for Seraphina behind there, you know, going on early, you know, I would paint the painting and she would see it and it was like, wow. And I was like, oh, I'll do another one. Like, so it was
a big deal, right? Imagine if you were by yourself in a silo.
Yeah, Jordan.
Is it good? Is it not? I don't know. But like to have someone who genuinely loves that.
Kidding me? It was like, I'll make 10,000 of them.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was making them like in 2 seconds. And it was the power she was giving me. The colors were exploding. And you know, look, we've been married for 11 years or whatever. And the colors are still very vibrant, and it's because of her. If you take her out of the picture, I think that the mood would be much more somber. Even if I think it's somber now, it would be much more somber. I mean, a good partner in your life. Who wants to sleep alone? Let me just say that. No. You have somebody on your side. Seraphina knows who I am, and I know who she is. It's family time. We're talking about wives.
No, but I love it. But
no, she's a
successful men who have strong partners. Like that's what everything is. And then the other story of like the gallery, where you left. She had said, "Hey, go away for a coffee." You were stressed.
No, I never gave the gallery to anybody in my life. Okay. And Seraphina said, "You go out, have a coffee. You're overworked." And I said, "Well, what do you know about the gallery? Why would I?" actually give you the keys. And I did give her the keys, and I kind of was going to laugh. So I went out, had a couple of espressos, a sunny Saturday, and I came back kind of arrogant. I walked in, and I was like, so what happened? And
what were you assuming before you even got an answer?
well, I assumed maybe one person came in. It was just a boring day because it's galleries.
Yeah.
You know, but I walked, I said, how'd it go? And she said, oh, I sold the whole gallery out. So I said, oh yeah, good for you. That's good to know. So I thought she was joking with me. So I walked by her. She said, take out all the canvases up from the stretcher and they're going to New York. So that's when it hit me. I said, she sold the whole gallery out. Are you kidding me? So I was with our New York client who bought the whole gallery. And the works weren't even that good. She believed in me more than I even believed in myself. So
did you propose on the spot? Because that would make me drop down on my knees of wiping this up.
I was already, first time I saw her, I went up to her 5 times. And, I left my friend in the dirt when I saw her. Look, I was, my 50s. So I cared about her immensely. I thought something about her grace. She was a very good person. And the morals. She was very honest, caring, cared about people. That's what I like.
God bless, man.
Yeah.
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
The business side, now that we're talking about galleries, you've done something incredible. You're teaming up with a lot of real estate developers in the city.
Very much so.
So talk about the business strategy of that, because they build new developments. They're putting up posters on the street, in the homes. Your artwork is going in there. You have a strong brand. Like, it just seems like it's such a smart, powerful connection.
With the hoarding or whatever we do with the builders, I mean, of course, we have tremendous clients, and the builders, it'll help them out with that. I think the art kind of gives it a little spice to the project. I mean, look, you can have a project there; it's just a building, right? Bang, it's up. All of a sudden, a little bit art, a little bit color, a little bit flavors, just like salt, pepper, a little bit of oregano, whatever you want. It's just, you don't want to have a salad with just tomatoes and cucumbers, right? Mm-hmm. Throw in some oregano, salt, whatever you want to do. I'm just saying, that sounds like a Greek salad to me.
I was say, where's the fat that? But yeah, let's get there.
Yes, but so the builders, and Toronto is a booming, exciting city. I know people are saying, look, I'm going to leave Toronto and I'm going to Miami, and that good. I could see that too. The weather's great in Miami, but I could never leave Toronto for good. I mean, Toronto's my home. Toronto is a number one city. It's a wonderful city. It's a multicultural city. I love it. I will always love it. So I'm here to stay. And, sure, in today's world, I think flight has become much more, part of everyday life. People are taking, in the past, the guy took 1 trip a year.
Right.
People are taking 10 trips a year, 8 trips a year, 4 trips a year. We've taken many, many trips all over, been to France, shows in Korea, New York, LA, Napa Valley, China. So all over the place, right? And Greece is next. That's hopefully we get a show in Greece.
So to what extent, like an actual show, you go there? How does an actual show work? So if you were to go to Greece, you go to Athens?
Well, first we would have the show. Usually a gallery would ask us to participate. Like in Korea, we had reached out to a gallery there, and they said, "Oh yeah, we know who you are," and we had a show there in Korea, the first show. And the huge billboards on the buildings of me jumping with jelly beans there. Stupid dream that came true, and it brought tears to my eyes, man. Landing in Korea, coming out of a cab and seeing a poster of Peter Triantos jumping for jelly beans. Napa Valley, an imaginary landscape that picked me up from the neck, took me to Napa Valley. So that's another crazy story. I mean, first it has to be. It's like a camera. It comes here and then reverses out into life. Like if it doesn't spark here, so you gotta be careful what you think. You know what I mean? But it's that stupid spark. Oh, I'm gonna buy a house. 2 weeks later, you're looking at homes. Next thing you know, you're in debt. So it happens, you know. It's that little spark. It doesn't happen without it. So that's why you have to always have a passion and see yourself, lead yourself into a situation. Don't really take advice from others, but don't, George, don't count on it. Like, I'm not going to go to a psychiatrist and ask him who I am. I already know I'm nuts. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I don't
save yourself the 400 an hour.
You know, you ask your friend for advice. He knows you better than anybody does.
Right.
Ask somebody close to you. Like, you know, people are too quick to ask for, and I'm not knocking down psychiatrists or anything, but I mean, people, if I have a problem, I talk a lot. Sorry, I have a problem. I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to try to get it off my back and get it out of my head. And if you laugh at me for it, good for you, because I got rid of it and now you're laughing at it. So maybe it made you happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's off my back.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in that. And, you know, we help a lot of people, kids, trying to show them, you know, everybody has problems. Look, I wasn't a kid that didn't have problems. I mean, you know, I grew up in a crazy time, but, you know, you find your way. You have to, you know, as a parent, trust your kids, trust that they'll find their way. Sure, they're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But you know, hopefully they're not huge mistakes, but you have to have trust and they'll find their way. But you have to give them a bit of leeway, right?
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Talking about Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Leading into this. What's your typical makeup of a customer? Because Toronto's so diverse, and you had said before, there's wealthy business people, there's athletes, there's all this stuff.
Yeah.
Is there a typical type client, or does your client base represent what Toronto is, just this melting pot?
Well, an art lover is a rare cat, a rare person, first of all. They're usually not that, you know, not as rigid as somebody who doesn't collect art, because they're open to, you know, I've seen couples 90 years old, man. Shall we buy that? Oh, it's a beauty. Together, you know, in love. And then I've seen other people like, I let my wife buy. I'm not into this. You know, I'm 50 years old. I'm on my way out. You're already out.
Right.
You're already out. So, you know, you have to work together with your partner. And we're very fortunate. Look, it's an array of different people, different races, different, just wonderful people. And we get to meet them and we talk to them. I install the paintings. You know, what good is it having a dealer and you never see the client who bought your pieces? I know that. I worked with Philip Guggenheim in New York. I worked with Georges Berger in New York.
Jeez.
You know, and they would find the client and I don't know who it is. So for me, when I go into the home of the client, I yap like we're yapping right now. God forbid I'm talking too much, but I yap a lot and my wife sometimes pulls my shirt, Peter, you have to stop, because I make the mistake that they're my friends.
Right.
And I take everybody like as a real friend. And why would I lie? Why would I talk to you and pretend I'm somebody that I'm not, and then go when I leave, oh, who is this guy? I don't care. You make a connection, you be real. That's sorry to say, that's who I am. I could never change. And
you shouldn't, though. I'm sure that's why like that energy comes across. That's why people love your art, love the story. When you go, like I've always wondered this, you go to these residences, you're installing the artwork. Is that a done deal? Anyone, you know, when you go to like the homes and you post on social media, like is that...
sometimes they're trials, but once we put them up, so we tell them like, we're going to bring the art, because it's one thing to see it in the studio, but does it really fit? And sometimes people will pick pieces that I will tell them, it doesn't matter about the money. I don't think this piece goes here.
Oh, you'll be transparent?
It's a little bit hard because everybody needs the money.
Right.
You know, you're talking about a painting that could possibly be, you know, $20,000, $30,000, sometimes as high as $50,000, $60,000. Who knows?
Yeah.
You're going to say no. You're going to take a hit in the pocket. But I'll do it. Stupid, but I'll do it if it doesn't fit. But then I'll probably say, you know, maybe a commission, try to be honest. You know, I don't want them to have a bad painting. I know business is business. We want them to be happy. And a lot of times, like, it's funny, this lady just recently returned a painting because she's moving to a smaller place, and it's a huge old painting of mine. I've already bought it back twice. So I'd pick it up. We were very happy to get it back. She comes in my studio to pick another painting, and she says, "Oh, that one. I love that one." I said, "You just picked the painting that you brought back."
Come on.
So she goes, I have the same thing. So she goes, it looked different in my studio. Obviously, big studio.
You should send it back 2x.
But we ended up getting it back. But so this is the second time I got it back. The price changed from the first time I bought it back. It changes. And some of those older works, you know, I might not buy every one of them back, but there's some of them that people say, well, why can't you just paint that piece? Again, you can. It's a moment in time. Yeah. I'm not 30 years old. I could pretend to be 30 years old, but I'm not 30 years old. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's a moment in time. And, you know, when somebody buys a work from Peter Triantos, you're getting a piece of me.
At that point in time.
Sometimes somebody might say, well, you know, it's a little bit pricey. We try to help everybody. But in fact, I think the prices are going to be tenfold. I don't see like I see they've been kind of staying like this, but I see a time where, look, the prices are going to go through the roof. They're already there, but they will go, and there will be I had a lot of my friends that said, man, I wish I bought a painting. I was right there in the studio. Well, maybe you should have supported me. I don't want to talk like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you said,
but absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
no deals, like support your...
Yeah, support a bit. The prices, you know, I was selling paintings for as low as $1,500 when I was in my 30s. But I was selling 30 paintings a month. So, you know what I mean? And I had, you know, I don't want to tell you the secrets of what I was doing, but I'll say it. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
You know, a guy would come in and say, you know, oh, I love the painting. It's amazing, but, you know, it's too big or it's too small. And I would say, well, I'll make you a commission and I'll make you 2 paintings and you'll pick from those 2 and I'll make it to any size you want. You put 60% down and I could start that. So right away, I had a customer who was going to walk away. He would put 60% down, and I just got a deal, and it started working like crazy. So the commissions were like loading up. I don't want to say the secrets, but it was just a way for me to pay bills.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm not going to let money walk off. Like a guy wants a painting, I'm going to try to make him happy. If I could do it, why should he go somewhere else? So, you know... Maybe I shouldn't say that kind of stuff here.
No, but I've always wondered, how sophisticated is the system when it comes to pricing? Is it just whatever sticks and that becomes the benchmark?
There's no sophistication to anything. If I want to sell a painting for $10 million, I can put any price I want. And so be it. It's my work. I want $10 million. There could be a painting that's dear to me. It really is. The art is priceless. So when somebody says, oh man, you know, how long did it take you to paint? It took me 62 years. That's what it took me. So they don't like that answer. And some of them get it right away. I can't be the same. Like I couldn't do this in my 20s. It takes you a while to become, like I said, tame or whatever. Maybe you don't want to be tame. I don't know. But, you know, it's not, if it took me 5 minutes or 5 years. It's the journey that makes the artist. That's why they have retrospectives on the artist at the end. And they see all his works together and they get the picture. It's not one picture. It's not 2 pictures. It's not 3 pictures. George, that's one picture.
The whole story.
Right?
The whole story.
Look at his whole story, yeah.
Is there an aftermarket for your paintings right now that you know of? Like, are they selling, like if someone buys a Peter Triantos?
Yeah, I'm listed on ArtNet. People sold my paintings in auction. You know, so they you know, 30,000 US, 20,000, they're there. You know, I don't like seeing that.
Well, you'd rather they come to the source? Like, why don't you like?
No, I mean, you know, because there's guys there who bought paintings off me many years ago that, you know, oh, I'm keeping this for my family. It's for me, personal use. I'll never sell it. Then they see an auction price of $30,000. They go bring it in auction, and they might have like something that wasn't the greatest Peter Triantos they bought out of my studio because they, paid $500 for it. So they'll put an auction, and it might hurt my prices, $3,000 to $4,000. So I see a lot of that happening, and I can tell you people have done it.
Right.
But I don't fixate on it, but it's the reality of the game, right? So, there's a value for my works. It's hard to say, is there a value? Well, let me say this. I was a carpenter, and what does a carpenter make? 50, 60 bucks an hour? They should be making $600 an hour. Why does a lawyer get $600 an hour? I ain't knocking down any lawyers, but let me tell you one thing. Carpenter, electrician, they work their asses off. So pay them correctly. $600 an hour. How do you like that?
Absolutely.
Then maybe they could live a bit, right?
Yeah.
So how much does an artist make? As much as he wants.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right?
Because people probably hate that. Well, that took you 5 minutes. I'm paying for that.
I had that early on. I had so many taboos. Like, people came to me from higher places like museums and galleries. I don't want to mention any names, and said, well, what you're doing is unethical. You cannot open your own gallery and have your own art. That's unethical. Why? So I was one of the first guys to have Peter Triantos Art Gallery selling Peter Triantos works. Maybe I was stupid enough to do it, or
smart enough to.
I didn't do. But I got people screamed at me and told me, "Well, you shouldn't be hanging paintings. What are you doing? Artists don't do that." Well, why not?
Absolutely.
What does an artist do? What does an artist look like? You don't look like an artist. What does an artist look like? So people have these weird. Everybody's an artist. Everybody's a great artist. The thing is, they're afraid and they have no presence. The art can't come out because, I can't do that. I'm not an artist. But if they ever spend a moment with me, and then I'll force it to come out, and then they'll get shocked because everybody can paint like nobody's business. Right. And they're masters. They're creators. Humans are creators, just like we've been created, I guess, right? From the creator, we create.
Absolutely.
Right? So,
dude, it's impressive, everything. I want to ask you, your galleries now that you're opening more, how many are brand builders, like brand building elements versus, no, I need to sell a certain amount to justify the rent? Like when you open up a gallery now, is that just expanding your brand and you really don't care about the foot traffic in the store, in the actual gallery? You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're not branding. We never brand. We're not cattle. So I don't think of that as the brand. And the dealers hated me because your art is not brandable. Mm-hmm. And they said, because you paint different paintings and who knows, I don't care to be recognized. Again, like I said, one day I'm painting black and white. The next day I'm painting Napa Valley. The next day I'm painting SP2. The next day I'm doing abstract realism. Who cares? Ding, ding, ding. Like, who cares about that? Mm-hmm. We don't eat the same thing every day. I don't want to eat the same thing every day. So, branding? No. It's not like, am I the jelly bean man? Really? You know what I mean? Doesn't matter to me. Yeah.
Are you though? Does that bother you if someone's like, they just associate?
It would never bother me. I mean, to be honest with you, the Jelly Bean series was a funny series. I saw it in Dollarama. We had to put a cease and desist there, shocking me, and I had pillows, and we saw it in showers.
Come on.
So I don't want to get into that because I'll tell you, I see it, I get shocked. It's gone a long way. The Jelly Bean series was originally hated. I did it in my studio. It was just putting paint together. And I said, what would happen if I put any color anywhere, wherever I want? Would my brain actually be able to, with these colors? And they started to work together. And people started to say, I don't like that. I don't like where you're going. A couple dealers, I don't like that. And they apologized to me. That's what's so crazy. 7 months later, they said, I kind of liked the Jelly Bean series. And you know what was the funny thing? It wasn't them that didn't like it. It was their forefathers and what they were taught. Don't wear pink. Don't wear red. Where are you going? It's like just color. You got a red flag. I got a blue flag. Let's kill each other. So color was a taboo. And when they saw a lot of color like that, they got scared. The Jelly Bean series was just, I remember we put it in the gallery. We took it down. And then people were complaining, but where does it go? What happened to it? So, I think...
is that what put you... Obviously, people followed you for years, but is that what put you on the map? Like,
absolutely
commercially?
not.
No, okay.
I think Peter Triantos was the guy in a weird way because he was loud, obnoxious, kind, not arrogant. But I think I put myself on the map. To be honest with you, I don't want to sound like I want to get it was me behind there. The Jelly Bean series was a reflection of me,
right?
Of how much I wanted to show, the color, the exuberance, the beauty, who I am. Look at me. I'm wearing a tie, which I was afraid to wear, or whatever, a color. One time when I was in Mexico, I was a kid. I took a vacation to Mexico. I wore these yellow shoes, and I thought I heard somebody say, "What a banana!" I threw them in the garbage. So color is fearful. Look at the way we're dressed.
Right.
Look at it.
Funeral ready.
Fear. Jimi Hendrix, Rodman. Those are the real people.
Right.
Those are the guys, purple hats and celebrating life. How dare you wear a purple hat into this office? Why? You know what I mean? Look at the birds. Look at nature. You know what I mean, George? Color is all around us, and we should be celebrating color. The Jelly Bean series was a series that helped me celebrate color and helped a lot of people, made a lot of people happy. And little kids, I would go to the house, the kids were painting them, and they were showing me, pictures of Jelly Bean series.
Of them replicating it and doing that. How cool is that?
I went to Korea. I went to New York. But... it's right here, Avenue Road, Yorkville, Scholar. We're trying to do a Jelly Bean Tower one day, somewhere big. We'll see about that, right? But many things, you want to evolve as an artist, and you want to wake up in the morning and bang, you're up and you got passion. Because if you don't have passion, there's no fuel in the tank. It's it.
Dude, your energy is incredible. You've been amazing with the time. I got a couple more questions because I know...
Sure.
You guys have to run as well, but who's been your inspiration over the years? Artist, no artist? Like what's been your motivation over the years to do what you do? Like to get up, to be motivated, to be a good artist?
I want to say this, such a good question. And who motivates people? Batman, Superman. Nobody's got any role models. I had a role model, Darryl Sittler. It was crazy. Darryl Sittler for me, I met Darryl Sittler recently, and I'll tell you, for me as a kid, Darryl Sittler was an idol of mine because he would never give up. The Leafs could be losing 4-0. 2 minutes left in the game, and Sittler was lining everybody up. He's going to give it right to the last second. When I met Sittler recently, and I had dinner with him, and we sat down and showed me his ring, Hall of Fame ring, a beautiful man. That's a guy with heart. He was a Leaf captain. That guy, in many ways, I patterned my life over somebody as a kid when I was watching Sittler.
Wow.
So that was a big deal for me.
I wasn't expecting that, man. Yeah.
That's the truth, right? It wasn't Picasso. It wasn't, Rembrandt. It was Darryl Sittler. It was coming to Canada, watching hockey, Davy Keon, Sittler. It was 1966 I came to Canada off the boat. 13-day boat ride, right? So they didn't even have planes back then. Sorry about that.
13-day boat ride.
Yeah, 13-day. I landed in Halifax. I don't want to get into that story.
How'd you not end up in Ellis Island, New York? There was like two options, right?
Yeah. I was in Halifax and then Toronto, and thank the Lord for that, right? I got to thank my parents for taking that journey. And, I donated to the Greek consulate, and that brought a tear to my eye. And then I did it for my parents, right? they had to return it after because it was too valuable, and they said,
Oh,
gifts.
yeah.
So that was a little bit of a low blow. But yeah, I mean, everything that I do, it's family oriented. You know, my parents are not here anymore, but I'm paying homage to them every step. And by the time it's all said and done, I hate to say this, I'm going to put a dagger in Canadian art history, because I'm not just an immigrant. I'm a Canadian citizen now, even though it took a long time to get there. I came here in 1966. I was here longer than Trudeau before they made me a citizen. My name was wrong in the passport, this, that. Long story. The fact is this. People like to complain about immigrants and this and that and this and that. Go back to where you came from. Go back to where?
Where? Yeah.
Everybody's an immigrant, and everybody deserves respect. People are people, and people, whether he's an immigrant or she's an immigrant or whatever, whoever they are, they're people. And they have to have an opportunity to grow too.
Absolutely.
Canada, for me, I got to thank the Lord because of what I seen, all this greatness. And, you know, maybe I would have never been an artist. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Openings here.
My parents did.
Listen, even immigration though, right? This is so many immigrants here. We're a product of immigration.
Yes.
We also have to respect the country that we're in too. There's a fine line of we're proud Greeks or wherever you're from. But like, you got to respect the country, whatever country you're in.
You have to. And the fact is this, look, this country is absolutely a first-rate country. Like, I mean, it's tops.
Mm-hmm.
And bashing the country just makes the country, hurts the country. So I can't stand when people say, Toronto's shit. Should go to New York. What do you mean? What's wrong with Toronto? Toronto is a first-rate city. It's got tremendous multicultural. It's got tremendous people here. Look, what do you want to say? Drake, you know, look at the people that come out of here. Like, you know, it's first-rate city right now. Hockey, baseball, basketball. It's done everything, right? We just don't have NFL here. But I mean, we've done everything. It's a first-class city. Anywhere you go in the world, as a Torontonian, you want to come back home.
Absolutely.
Right? You can have all the sun you want, but you're going to want to come back home.
And you're respected internationally too.
There you go.
So world class.
Enough of the, you know, people putting it down.
Yeah.
I think it's time to rejoice and celebrate. And, you know, hopefully, you know, I see great artists here. I see a great movement, and I see great things coming out of Toronto.
Spoken from the future mayor of Toronto at some point, right?
No, I'm not a good politician.
Too many skeletons in the closet.
Not the skeletons. It's just, I think a politician like me, you know, kindness doesn't really play into politics. And, you know, I don't think these politicians really care. It's just, you know, I think it's a bigger picture. Maybe corporations. I don't know what's going on, but I think that I'm going to say this is that I bought into the system, and I don't think these kids today do.
Right.
You know, who's going to buy a 25-year amortization on a mortgage? That's going to take 50 years. No, it's not. It's not the truth. They're not buying into this crap that we bought into, and that's a problem when people can't buy into a system, and the government has made so many lies and people getting caught and all this bullshit. The kids, they're brilliant. There's nothing wrong with the kids, but they lose hope and they lose faith in the system, and there it leads to problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And all they need is the elders to take responsibility and show them the way. They're these kids with bright minds, tremendous. You talk to these kids today, people say, oh, kids today. What's wrong with the kids today? They're just as brilliant as any time through history. Kids are always brilliant. We went to Dubai and I painted with the kids there. Man, you feel that room. And when is that age where the dreams are stripped from them? Does it happen at 10, 11, 12 years old where, you know, look here and don't look out that window anymore at that bird. Focus on this. Focus is fixation.
That's a good question, man. When does that happen?
Yeah,
when
11, 12 years old. Because focus is fixation. I cannot just look at this all day. I have to look around me as a human being to what's happening there. Anyway, that's a good, we don't want to get into that.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Last question segment is just...
Probably talking too much here.
No, man, it's been amazing. Self-promotion, branding, building yourself. I know you talked earlier, I don't brand, but like your own personal brand and getting your message out there. How have you learned over the years to get your message out there and reach tens of thousands of people and hundreds of thousands of views and influencing people around the world, man? You're painting in Dubai, you're painting in Korea, you're in New York. You've made the world small, dude.
Thank you so much for saying that. It touches my heart, George, to be honest. And I don't know anything about branding, never did. But I know as a kid that I would sit around the park and I would make everybody laugh, and I would always tell stories and talk all day long. Couldn't stop talking. I talk in my sleep. Ask my wife. And I talk from the minute I get up. God gave me a mouth to talk, and I talk all day long, all nonstop. And so I think the branding, I didn't know anything about branding. I think it was just me yapping, and people knew me, whether they hated me or liked me or liked me for trying and being stupid enough to enter the world of fine art as a Greek immigrant and saying that I'm going to open my own gallery. I don't know what the hell possessed me to do that. And then all of a sudden, I felt like I was somebody. I had a voice, and I'm going to start using it. And I was using it and using it. Look, now I'm 62 years old. I mean, I want to make sure that I do what's right, and I want to do things that are going to change the world for the better. I swear to God. Is art a tool? Yeah, it is. And can it make the world better? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. And can my paintings make somebody happy? If they do, then great. If you look at one of my paintings and you get nothing out of it, then that's also fine too. But I think that artists are a type of vessel that can reflect what's happening in the world today. And they don't paint the picture so gloomy. They add a bit of flavor and color.
Yeah, dude, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Thank you
for
having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Invigorate Your Business with George Stroumboulis. Please hit the subscribe and like buttons and follow me on all the main podcast streaming channels. Also, please share your comments when you can. I appreciate your help in expanding this network to a worldwide audience. Until next time, stay invigorated.